The temperature has to be brought down. That would be nice. I think most people would agree, I think, when you speak of the temperature of the emotion and the rhetoric surrounding Mar-a-Lago. They would agree with that statement until they found out who said it. Yeah, Donald Trump is the one who said that, and he has reached out to the Department of Justice, basically asking how he can assist in stopping the vitriol online in the media and the threats against the FBI and such. It's nice to hear, actually, although I think never Trumpers might offer a solution that Trump might not like, nor would be helpful, by the way. But Kevin, to his credit, Donald Trump not only wants to tone down the rhetoric, but he wants total transparency regarding this raid. He encouraged the release of the warrant at Mar-a-Lago, and he wants the affidavit released as well.
Yeah, Tom, on one hand, Donald Trump says he'll do whatever he can to bring down the temperature. On the other hand, he also says the country is in a very dangerous position. There is tremendous anger like I've never seen before over all the scams in this new one. Years of scams, witch hunts, and now this. A bit of mixed messaging from Donald Trump. Joining us now is Roshini Rajkumar, attorney and host of the podcast, The Crisis Files. Good morning, Roshini. How are you?
Good morning, guys. So much to unpack here.
I know. What are you reading into this? I'm a little bit confused by this. The first response when the raid went down, I understood. Now him reaching out and saying, open this all up. I want to bring down the temperature. I'm having a hard time getting in the head of Donald Trump, which happens to a lot of people.
You are right, Kevin, to note that there are mixed messages here, just the headlines about how he wants to work with the DOJ, but then he can't just put a period on that sentence. He has to add additional sentences, bringing up scams and past things. And, it's that passive aggressive that we have come to learn from Donald Trump. And what I'm always saying about him is he really does have a lot of good ideas about PR. He's a self-promoter for sure, but the passive aggressive is what always gets him. The narcissism is what always gets him. So when he has to then come back in and attack, that is not a good thing. So I think both sides here, there's not a lot of trust. And when you don't have trust, you don't have a lot. So I do think it's a good message to say, okay, I'll work with you guys. But the fact that we've even gotten to the raid on his Mar-a-Lago location was really not a good thing. It did not need to get there. I don't know what kind of back channel negotiation was happening to try to stave off this raid, or was it truly political? And this Justice Department and the current administration just wanted to do something that was negative, and they wanted the headlines of this raid on Mar-a-Lago. I am suspicious of pretty much all sides in this, but we have to be careful because I've talked with both of you about this in the past on your show. It is not a good day if we indict a former president of the United States. That would never be a good day for the United States of America.
No, it would not. You're an attorney. You look at this cryptic message to Merrick Garland from Donald Trump. Do you feel like that's an indication that he's scared or worried about being charged? Should he be scared or worried?
Yeah, he should be scared or worried. And, the thing about these documents in his home, in his offices, why would these documents need to be taken? And when Donald Trump is saying, well, they were declassified, I don't know that we have any evidence of the process of declassification. So other presidents who maybe have things that are shipped off to their libraries, things like that, there is a very formal, detailed process for declassification. What I'd like to see is the current media, the journalists of our day, ask about the declassification process, like very pointed questions of both sides here. Did you guys at the DOJ try to declassify these documents? Hello, Mr. Trump. Were these documents declassified? If so, what was the process? Like, those are the questions the lawyer in me and the person that's really asking all of us to look for the truth here. These are the questions we need to be thinking about.
Yeah, and Donald Trump, for his side of this, obviously he believes there's no way to justify this raid. He says he was working with them as late as June on this, but he says, to be transparent, that he wants the immediate release of the completely unredacted affidavit. Do you think that's going to happen?
I doubt it, but I would love to see that, Tom.
Yeah, a lot of us would
love to see that. And there's an argument to be made the American people should see it. And if you're open to that and both sides agree to that, then we should hopefully get at some truth here. I mean, I think with all the headlines that have happened connected to Donald Trump since he left office, we've got to ask ourselves, and I ask the media, why do we keep covering Donald Trump? We've got a 2024 election that's shaping up. He appears to be the front runner, as some pundits would say. Is it a good idea that someone with his personality, continues to be top of the news? I mean, have you ever really woken up in the last 6 months, Tom and Kevin, and not seen a Trump headline? I mean, it's just kind of crazy to me as someone who watches these things.
Yeah, we're scratching our heads. Are these headlines ever going to stop? And I don't think they are. I think this will be something that we deal with for the next 50 years. I mean, it's something, it's historic. I think the presidency of Donald Trump is historic for so many reasons, not always good reasons, but we can't get him out of our minds. You deal with a lot of very interesting issues. You're a crisis strategist. You're a media insider, obviously a former reporter and also an attorney. So you've got this program called The Crisis Files with Roshini. It's a podcast. Explain what that is, and because we find ourselves, I think, as a nation in constant crises across the landscape. What do you deal with on your program?
Yeah, thank you, Tom, for asking about that. So The Crisis Files was actually shot in April as a pilot, a television pilot. I've been concepting it, working on it for nearly a year now. And we shot it as this pilot. While it was being edited, it came to my mind, which I eventually would be trying to sell to TV and streaming networks. Well, about a month into the edit process that I was not a part of, my team was working on that, I thought, wow, we've got to get this out there sooner than whenever I'm going to sell this TV pilot. So I decided in the spring, I've got to launch this as a podcast so we can talk about the issues of the day. Some of the stuff we shot in the pilot is also included in the podcast. So the first episodes dropped last week. You can find them across all of the major podcast platforms at The Crisis Files. We also have thecrisisfiles.com. I would love it if your listeners checked it out, shared their comments with us, shared the podcast. But we really have the opportunity with The Crisis Files to explore issues of the day, kind of ripped from the headlines, dilemmas. And myself and my 4-person crisis squad come from PR, from law, from mental health, from DEI topics. We basically discuss them, we dive into the issues, and we try to present solutions for that particular crisis. And my hope, my vision for The Crisis Files, Tom and Kevin, is to empower real people. Maybe you take some of the lessons from each episode, apply it to your own life, your own work, and hopefully prevent your own crisis.
Yeah, well, you got a lot of experience in doing that. Roshini Rajkumar, host of The Crisis Files, crisis strategist and licensed attorney. Roshini, great to talk with you again. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much, guys.